Ladies and gentlemen, Barry C here with another cryptocurrency video, and the market is turning around. We're starting to see certain altcoins regain 100%, 150%, 200%, and XRP's going to go that way as well. We have never seen a time in crypto where the bull run doesn't end in an alt season. And specifically since 2016 until now, there's never been a time in crypto where we don't have the bull run, the alt season, and within that alt season, we see extreme volatility that far exceeds all expectations. And within the bull run and alt season period, we always see XRP perform exceptionally well. Now, the interesting thing, ladies and gents, is that when XRP starts turning around, when it regains $3, then goes to $4, and then $5, and then $10, and then maybe even $20, depends on how much volatility we see, that's when people start panicking. People start getting this feeling of, well, no, like I wanted to get the cheap XRP and now it's moving. And now they either start rapidly buying in as it goes up, or they say to themselves, you know what, I'll wait to the end of the alt season, we will see a bear market, and then I'll get that cheap XRP I've been waiting for. And then they get to the end of the alt season and they realize that now they're paying a lot more for XRP than they were before it started pumping. And we saw this happen in November 2024, really recently. You know, XRP was trading between 30 cents and 50 cents for over 3 years. And then November 2024 comes around and it starts going to $1. And then people panic and they go, wait, I want the 50-cent XRP. And they go, okay, look, it'll dip back down. Then it goes to $2. Now $2.50, now $2.60, $2.70. And that's what people are starting to pay, because then they panic and they go, well, it's going up and it keeps going up. And this may be the last cheap opportunity. And then the new cheap becomes $2 plus. And then they get to the height of it and they go, well, I wish I had done things differently. I wish I'd bought more XRP. And this has happened every step of the way since 2017, when XRP was first starting to be listed on exchanges, until now. And it doesn't matter whether, you know, crypto was newer back then, and it doesn't matter that we're in 2025 and the market has exploded exponentially and there's a lot more money in the market, there's a lot more attention, people want crypto more and more as time goes on. We still see the same problems, the same mistakes over and over again. And people did that in 2017 when XRP was worth less than 1 cent a coin. When it started going $1, $2, $3, that's when people were FOMOing. People were desperate because they're like, wow, XRP is going to keep going up. And then they bought and they bought and they bought. And then it crashes after 2018 at the height of it, you know, February, when XRP flips Bitcoin and Ethereum and it looks like it's never crashing again. And then we get the first bear market that anyone's experienced. And then people start going, well, I'm not going to buy. The market's down over 60%. I'm not going to buy a 10-cent XRP when I could have bought it for 1 cent. I'm going to wait and see what happens. And then we get to 2020 and 2021. And despite the fact that we have a Ripple versus SEC lawsuit and we're seeing top-tier exchanges begin to delist XRP, XRP still goes from 10 cents to 19 cents to $1, $1.65, $1.80. And it would have gone higher other than for the fact that we saw those exchanges start delisting XRP because of all that legal uncertainty. But even then, going from 10 cents to $1.80 is still pretty remarkable. And people did the same thing. It's going up. It's no longer 10 cents. Now it's $1. Now it's $1.50. Now it's $1.80. And people FOMO'd in. And then the market comes crashing down into a bear market again. And now XRP has gone back down 30 cents. And now people are like, well, I don't want to buy a 30-cent XRP. You know, the market's crashing. You know, I'd like a 10-cent one like we saw before the market took off. But now I'm going to wait and see what happens. And then we get to November 2024. And exactly as I just explained, we go to $1, $2, $2.50, $2.70. And people are now going, well, it's going to go up. I've got to buy. And I should have done things differently. I need to fix that mistake. And then even at the start of 2025, XRP finally hits $3 again. And people are doing the same thing. Oh, it's going to keep going up. I need to buy. And then they don't buy, and then it comes crashing back down. It goes down to like $2.20. It goes just below $2. It's like $1.70, $1.80. And people are looking at it going, well, it's not 30 cents. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. And this is what I mean. It doesn't matter where crypto is. People keep making those same mistakes over and over again. And the exact same thing's going to happen. We're going to finally see an alt season. We're going to see that second leg up. And people will look back at a $2 XRP when XRP is sitting at around $10, $20, and they'll say, wow, I could have 10x'd an initial investment. Maybe more. And this is only taking into consideration an alt season. We're not even talking about a utility run. But let's say XRP gets to $10, maybe it even goes to $20. If we see a 50% market correction, well, that means the new cheap XRP is either $5 or $10. It's certainly not going back down to 30 cents. And it's absolutely not going back down to 10 cents or 1 cent ever again. We will hit a $1,000 XRP before we hit a 30-cent XRP ever again. And then people still sit there on the sidelines and they go, well, I'm going to wait for that day. And it's very interesting to me. I see this happen over and over again. I see this narrative that gets pushed, the second that the market starts acting in a negative way. When we see things dip, when we see things crash, and we see that uncertainty and that fear. And then people start floating this idea like, oh, we're going to see a 30-cent XRP. Absolutely not. It's not the way the market works. It hasn't worked that way since 2016 until now, and it's not going to suddenly start. We are in that 4-year cycle. We have our Bitcoin halving events, we have our post-halving bull run, we have the second leg up of the bull run, which is the alt season. And then at the height of an alt season, we finally see that crash down to the bear market. It's typically a 50% correction. That lasts 3.5 years until the next Bitcoin halving event, and then we move into the next bull run alt season cycle, and that plays out every 4 years. And within that 4-year cycle, we have a small window of opportunity, which is the alt season, where we see prices that far exceed all logic, all expectations. And like I said, we've seen XRP perform exceptionally well every alt season. And it's not going to be different this time round. Sure, it's been slightly delayed. There's a lot of uncertainty going on in the world, but that doesn't mean that crypto is not going to perform well. And you've heard me say this over and over again, ladies and gents. I've been saying this for years. That's why it's so important to have a plan, have a strategy. Use these opportunities. And yeah, these sort of dips are absolutely opportunities. It's where you can grow and expand your existing bags or even look at new crypto projects before we get to the volatility of an alt season. Because everybody is super confident when XRP starts skyrocketing. November 2024, suddenly XRP is leading the way. It is the crypto that is kicking off the alt season and the bull run. And so suddenly everybody wants in. And then when the market dips, and now it's a lot more of a interesting entry point. It's not as high as it was in November. It's certainly cheaper right now. And now people are suddenly like, oh, I'm going to wait and see what happens. And these are the same people who will FOMO in at the top, or they're going to be there after the fact and they're going to say, I wish I'd done things differently. And ladies and gents, it has been that way since I've been in crypto, 2016. It doesn't matter how much knowledge and how much experience people have, they keep making that same mistake over and over again. And that's the question people should be asking themselves is, okay, what do you want to pay for XRP? And once again, this is just looking at an alt season, and I'm not even getting into a utility run just yet. I will shortly. Within the parameters of an alt season, let's say we see XRP go absolutely parabolic and it goes from $2 to $10 to $20. And the question you've got to ask yourself is, would you rather pay the $2 or would you rather pay the $20? Let's say this year in 2025, banks get the green light to adopt blockchain and crypto technology. Now, banks and financial institutions have been trialing XRP since 2017. They've been trialing XRP's cross-border payment technology and the on-demand liquidity technology. And they can utilize that technology to take the existing financial framework and the way we transact and the way we conduct finance and take it to that next level. Essentially meaning you can conduct your financial transactions and your finances 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sending anything of value that can be tokenized, any type of currency from point A to point B, across the globe, almost instantaneously for a fraction of a fee. And that's going to change the way we conduct finance within the existing financial framework. Now, if one bank goes ahead and says, you know what, we're going to utilize XRP because that's the crypto that we've been trialing, then you're no longer talking about the parameters and price points of an alt season. Now you're talking about global economy. You're talking about banks and financial institutions around the world on a daily basis utilizing XRP and the XRP blockchain to transact, to conduct finance. That's not going to be a $20 XRP. That's when you start talking about at least $1,000 per XRP. And banks and financial institutions aren't going to utilize a volatile asset. They're not going to say to banks and financial institutions around the world, we have this amazing crypto that every 4 years, within a month or two, it's really, really great price-wise. And then for 3.5 years out of the 4-year cycle, it dips over 50%. There's no way they're utilizing a technology or a blockchain platform like that. They're going to utilize something that is expensive and stays expensive. And that's how XRP, with millions and billions and trillions of dollars of worldwide currency and transactions constantly flowing through the XRP blockchain, that's how XRP becomes a lot more expensive. And once it becomes more expensive, it stays up there. And once banks and financial institutions are utilizing XRP, that's it. There's no, oh, we're going to use it for a couple of months of the year and then see what happens. Once they use it, that's it. You're not going to get XRP going from $20 to $100 to $1,000. Then it sits at $1,000 for a bit, then it dips back down to 20 because then people finally realize the mistake they've made and they want to buy in cheap. That's not happening. When XRP rallies at a utility run level, at a global adoption level, that's it. The minimum you'll be paying for XRP will be $1,000 for one. And this goes back to my question, is what would you want to pay for XRP? Would you want to pay about $2 right now? We want to pay $1,000. And maybe that $1,000 XRP takes a couple of years, maybe it takes 5 years. I think it'll happen a lot sooner than people anticipate. But this is what I mean, pardon me, this is what I mean when I say, hey, have a plan. Because as crypto becomes more and more popular, and we see crypto and blockchain being promoted at such a high level at the moment, at a presidential level, that's the type of confidence we're talking about for just one bank to turn around and go, you know what, we're going to be the one that does it. And this is not financial advice, ladies and gents. I'm not trying to get you to rush out and buy XRP right now. I'm talking about, my experience and what I've seen since 2017 till now. I knew XRP was the number one crypto in finance back in 2017. It was the only crypto back then that was finance-based, and it was the only crypto back then that openly discussed this idea of being utilized by banks and financial institutions to not go against the banks, but to work with them. And that hasn't changed from 2017 till now. So I personally have been waiting that long for a utility run, and I've waited to watch how the landscape has changed, because banks and financial institutions have never really seriously considered blockchain technology as a shift, as an adoption. But I can see that happening more recently. And whether you like Trump or not, doesn't matter. But at a presidential level, with him and his administration endorsing blockchain and crypto as a viable option, a viable asset, and something to be considered seriously, that's when banks and financial institutions are going to start feeling confident to start that mass adoption. And that's why I feel it'll happen a lot sooner than anticipated. Because initially, I made some videos a couple of years ago and I was talking about maybe 5 to 10 years to see that kind of mass adoption, because there was so much uncertainty in the space and we didn't have that type of confidence that we have right now. And that's what I mean, that XRP will go parabolic. And it's going to happen without necessarily being tied to an alt season. Just within the confines of an alt season, sure, we could see $10, we could see $20, and that's exciting and amazing. But if you then look beyond that and you go, okay, we're talking that utility run, that mass adoption, XRP ceases to exist in that 4-year cycle. It's something entirely different. And a lot of people are going to make the mistake they've been making in the alt seasons and the mistake they've been making in the 4-year cycle. They're going to make that mistake heading into a utility run. A lot of people are going to get to the height of a utility run and go, wow, I really made a mistake. I should have done things a lot differently. And that's going to be too late. And that's why it's really important in times like these where we're not there yet price-wise for XRP. XRP has the potential. We know where it's going to go. We know it has an exciting future ahead of it, but it's not there price-wise yet. These are the times, these are the moments where we have to work and have confidence, and if we can't accumulate, we hold. We make decisions right now that are going to pay off in the very near future. Now, ladies and gents, as always, none of this is financial advice. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're curious about all the other cryptos I hold outside of XRP, consider becoming a Patreon. Click the link in the description below, head across to my Patreon page, and consider becoming a Barry C VIP. There you'll have access to all my cryptos, as well as my buy, sell, and take profit signals in real time.